Tech Net number 639 on this beautiful day here in Western New York in September. Hope everybody had a nice day. I'm Dick, WB2JPQ. For those of you that don't know, I get this every once in a while. People don't know where I am. I'm outside of Buffalo, a small town called Eden, New York. The only thing I guess we're known for is the kazoos. If you ever played a kazoo when you were a young child, well, they were made here in Eden. Small little place down in the village. I'll be here with Scott, W2BLT, Vicky, K8VKY, and Roger, K04QMM. We'll be here tonight, net controllers and loggers. Our question tonight, before we forget, do you collect amateur radio certificates? If there's a contest or something going on, do you go after those certificates? That's what we'd like to know tonight. And there is a method to our madness, but I can't talk about it at this time. So if you're a collector of that, you might like something that's coming up here over the next few months. So that's our question. Do you collect amateur radio certificates? I know back in the early days of me, I used to collect what I could and frame them, put them on the wall. And of course, it was much harder back in those days to make things achievable, but we did it. As always, we start out with our team members, see if they have anything to report tonight. Kevin, VE3BZ, texted me earlier today. He's got the night off, and he has nothing for the swap and shop, so there will be no swap and shop report from Kevin, VE3BZ, who does a great job on keeping track of all that stuff. We'll see if anybody has any silent keys. None popped up on our database, which is great. But we always ask to see if we missed any from the East Coast Reflector family. And Joel is here, KD2FTB, to enlighten us with the celebrity of the week. That's always a mystery who that is. And we go to stations that have never checked into this net before. We call it new users. Get you up at the top of the net. Now we take stations with questions. Hopefully David and Charles and others are here tonight to answer some of our more technical questions. We take stations with amateur radio related questions. And when we're done with that, we no longer take call districts. We're no longer taking check-ins by call districts as of, I guess, almost a month ago now. Tonight, I guess we're going to start with Scott, W2BLT, and he's going to take 10 text check-ins. 10 text check-ins. And when he gets done with the 10 text check-ins, then Roger's going to take 10 radio check-ins. And we'll go back and forth like that, 10 at a time. 10 text, 10 radio. Once again, our text line is 716-317-9050. And if you would prefer to email it in, some of our overseas people are doing that because they can't text because of the toll call. It's text@ecr.radio. Text.ecr.radio from your email. Well, let's see if any of our team members tonight have anything that they would like to report. Any team members have anything for the group? Once again, this is Dick, WB2JPQ. Well, hearing nothing, I would like to remind everybody that tomorrow night is open mic night here on the East Coast Reflector at 8 o'clock. Come join us. It's a net we started back a few months back. Seems to be working very, very nicely, thanks to Mark and Jason for all their hard work behind the scenes. So come join us tonight, or tomorrow night rather, at 8 o'clock for open mic night. And Thursday, this is the third, I think I'm right on this, I think this is the third Thursday of the month, so it will be Ask an Elmer, Be an Elmer in our Zoom room at 8 o'clock. Great way to learn, great way to meet other people. So come join us at 8 o'clock Thursday night for Ask an Elmer, Be an Elmer. That's in our Zoom room. And of course, please don't forget about our youth net. Our youth net at 8 o'clock on Fridays. We're just so hard trying to make this youth net a little bit bigger and make it go. We've got 3 great youth that are net control. and we're getting a lot of participation. So we're looking for any and all third party. If you've got a grandson, son, daughter, whatever, put them on, let them say hello. You can come into our Zoom room at 7 o'clock on Friday night, an hour before the net, and meet the net control stations and talk to some of us. Just grab one of your, one of the kids. We prefer you come in with, the kids come in with a parent, and might break the ice a little bit and make them feel a little bit better and talking on the air. So we do encourage all third parties. And I guess that's enough from me. So we have no silent keys, like I said, that popped up out of our database. We had a tremendous amount of new users last week. We had 70 new users that crossed our database. 44 of them had email addresses on QRZ. So I stress that every single week. Please, and a lot of our new people don't know that, you need to go to QRZ.com and put a current email address, a public email address, in QRZ.com so we all and everybody can get a hold of you. Does anyone have a silent key from the East Coast Reflector family that they would like to have remembered here this evening? Hearing nothing but Orlando keying up a few times. If that was someone trying to get in, you're way, way, way too noisy. Well, hearing nothing, that's good. So let's move on to Joe here tonight. KD2TFB, and let's see what Joe has for us on Celebrity of the Week. Good evening, Joe.
Thanks, Dick. I would have to say I don't really do contesting, so I don't collect certificates either as a result. Some of the information came from the National Park Service website, nps.gov, but as with many of these episodes, the primary source of information was the English language Wikipedia and is therefore subject to the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike 4.0 license. Herb was born on August 4th, 1903 in London, England, the first son of Herb and Lou. He was a victim of the 1918 flu epidemic, which caused him to have impaired hearing for the rest of his life. But Herb also had an interest in electronics, so he made himself a hearing aid. He traveled a lot as a kid, but the family eventually settled near Stanford University. He took great pride in serving as water boy for the Stanford Indians football team. Herb would go on to attend Stanford just like his father, and earned a general engineering degree in 1925. He later studied at the Harvard Business School and was awarded a Master's of Business Administration with distinction before winning a fellowship from the Daniel Guggenheim Fund to study aviation economics. His work focused on the economics of radio and the aviation sector. In 1928, Herb was hired by Western Air Express to set up a communication system. Over the next year and a half, he set up a network of stations across the western United States capable of guiding radio-equipped aircraft. He did not stay at Western Air Express, however. You see, it's possible to use radio to help prospect for oil. He founded United Geophysical in 1935, and by 1939, he had 200 employees working in 5 labs, perfecting the art of exploring for oil by using seismology. In 1937, he founded a related company, Consolidated Engineering Corporation, which focused on instrument manufacturing. Eventually, Herb earned the position of Undersecretary of State, where he served from 1954 to 1957. He was such an amateur radio enthusiast. In 1962, he was elected president of the ARRL. This week's celebrity call sign of the week is Whiskey 6 Zulu Hotel, or W6ZH, having once belonged to Herbert Charles Hoover, son of the 31st U.S. President, Herbert Clark Hoover, but more widely known as Herbert Hoover Jr. He suffered a sudden stroke on July 6, 1969, and became a silent key 3 days later at Memorial Hospital in Pasadena, California. Kilo Delta 2 Tango Fox Bravo, back to net control.
Well, thank you, Joe. A little bit about Mr. Hoover that I did not know, and I'm sure many others as well. Thank you for being here each week, Joe. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your contribution to our ECR magazine every month as well. And that reminds me, Vicky's working on the next month's magazine. It's halfway through the month. It takes a lot of work, and we're always looking for articles. I've had so many people promise me articles about their repeater and about their stations, and very few are delivering. Please send us some pictures. Write a short article. Vicky's team will fix it up and make it look like you're a professional writer. Just get it into us. Few pictures, a little bit about your repeater, your station, whatever. Anybody that's running a node, for instance, that's 10 watts or more, and an outside antenna, hey, blow your horn. Let's advertise it. Advertise it in a magazine. A couple of pictures of the antenna, your station, and so forth. Anything amateur radio related. We're always looking for articles. We hate to have to go out and outside the country to get articles when we have, 400 and 500. We had almost 500 connections this morning between All-Star and all the nodes here. So, man, we have the connections. We just got to get people to our own people to start contributing here a little bit more on the East Coast Reflector. Let's see who we have as new users tonight. Who do we have new to this net? If you've never checked into this net before, please give us your call sign twice.
Kilos, Charlie, KZ5NDC.
That KZ5NDZ, is that the call sign up on QRZ? Perhaps it's a new call. Do we have the call sign right, please?
Kilo Zebra 5 November Delta Charlie.
All right, we got to get a Charlie on the end. NDC. Grants, New Mexico. Well, good evening. Welcome to the system. You are new. It looks like you have a current email address on your QRZ page, so our system will automatically send you a welcome letter probably after midnight tonight. Good evening to you, and welcome. And our question tonight, do you collect amateur radio certificates?
Negative. My XYL K5HLH does. We're mobile in New Mexico on I-40 eastbound. We just passed the continental divide, top of the world at 7,000 feet above sea level. And we're talking to you on the club's repeater, KE5FYL on Mount Taylor at 11,000 feet. KZ5NDC, back to net.
All right, we got you down for a no. Thank you for checking in tonight, and safe travels. Who else do we have new to this net? Stations that have never checked in to this net. You might be on the morning brew or been on the system, but if you never checked into this net, we'd like to hear from you.
This is November Quebec 7 Zulu NQ7Z.
Charles from Tucson, Arizona, NQ7Z. Charles, you're coming up red on our database here, indicating that you have been on this on the Tech Net here before, so I have to ask you to call in the general check-ins, and else you have a question further down the program. But thank you. What else do I have? Stations that have never checked in. If you're in question, we'll tell you whether you've been in here before or not. KC2GRN, Kilo Charlie 2, November, Joel, East Bank. Joel, we appreciate the check-in, but you too. This is actually your second time, KC2GRN. You have been in here twice before. Thank you. What else do I have? Stations that have never checked in to this net. Juliet 5, Mike, Papa Golf. Kilo Juliet 5, Mike, Papa Golf. Oh, there's Bill from the Woodland, Texas. Good evening, Bill, KJ5MPG. And yes, indeed, you are new to this net. And our question tonight for you, and glad you could stop by, is do you collect amateur radio certificates? Thank you. That's a negative. I have not collected amateur radio certificates. I don't know. I'm relatively new, and I've got quite a bit to learn. So maybe I'll look into certificates a bit more. This is KJ5 MPG. Got to the net. Hey, Bill. Well, you know, there's a lot of contests out there, and you give out certificates if you work the contest. And of course, POTA is the big one, or a big one. I don't know if it's the biggest, but POTA is a big one. So that's what our question is tonight. We're just wondering how many paper collectors or whatever we used to call them used to, of course, put all the certificates and things on the wall. We used to call it wallpaper back in the day. You don't hear that too much anymore. Back in the QSL cards, everybody had been on for a while, had hundreds and hundreds of cards, and then he posted them on their walls, and at least it saved painting. Let's see what else we have. New users to this net. If you've never checked into this net, give us your call sign twice. 18 past the hour. This is Dick, WB2JPQ. Kilo Mike 4, Lima Whiskey. Robert coming in on DMR from Melbourne, Florida, KM4LLW. Good evening, Robert. Well, good evening, everyone. Yep, first time checker enter with the net here. I go off, and my home QTH is Melbourne, but I'm actually talking to you from Nashville, North Carolina, where we have a second home, and I'm on a short M1KE. Back to you. All right, well, you sound good. Your audio is just a little low. You might want to come up a little bit on your audio, but other than that, you're doing well. And if you answered our question, I did not hear it. Do you collect amateur radio certificates, Robert? And while I got you, do you go by Robert or do you go by Bob? We can always change it here. No, I did not collect the certificates or whatever. Maybe I should have, but I know a lot of people who do and did, and I do go by Bob. I tell people I spell Bob with one O. That usually gets their attention. But yeah, anyway, we're enjoying it, and thank you. We got you down for a no, and you will be known as Bob on the ECR from now on. I will remind everybody that you can text in to get on the list when we get the general check-ins. Scott and Roger are going to be ready for you. 716-317-9050. 716-317-9050. I see Vicky's got a few here, but text in. It makes it a lot easier. Like I said, we had 65, I think it was, text check-ins this morning alone on the morning brew. Who else do I have? New stations. Never checked into this net before. KM4 FLC Kilo Mike 4 Foxtrot Lima Charlie from Asheville, North Carolina. I live in an RV here and go to Florida in the winter. Well, it's quite ironic. We had two KM4s coming in through the DMR bridge and had some kind of a connection to Asheville, North Carolina. KM4 FLC, good evening. It says William. Tell us what you go by. If you go by Bill, if you go by William or something else, just let us know. You're new to the system and you do not have a current email address on QRZ.com, so we encourage you to go and put a public email address on your QRZ.com page. Our question to you, William, Bob, whichever, do you collect amateur radio certificates? Good evening. No, sir, I do not collect those. Like I say, I know Bob, but I go by Mike. I've got the Shark RF M1KE that I'm using that I got a recommendation from Bob. And anyway, Robert from Melbourne, Florida. And I live just below him 6 miles when I go to Florida in my RV. Down in Malabar, Florida. And so that's a bit of information for you there. Thank you. Thank you, William. And we got you down for a no with your answer. You're low as well, and they did a little bit of maintenance this morning on that bridge, and I'm wondering if it's not your problem. I don't know. We'll have to check it out a little bit further. We'll see if there's anybody else on the DMR bridge. We'll have to do some checking, but both you guys are quite low for coming in here on audio. Who else do we have new to this net? Stations that have never checked into this net. Hearing nothing. Thank you for, what do we have, 4, Vicki? Yeah, we had 4 new stations to this net. Usually we have a lot more. Let's move on to stations with amateur radio related questions. I don't know who's here tonight. I don't know if David or Charles. I know Charles is here. He's already texted in. I saw him on the text line. But stations with an amateur radio related question, please give me your call sign twice. We'll field your question and see if we can find you an answer. KK7OGC, KK7OGC. Fred from Reno, KK7OGC. Good evening, Fred. answer our question, and we'll take yours. How's that?
Thank you, Dick, Vicki, and everyone on the net. Yes, I collect certificates, and it's apropos on Pythagorean triple squares day, 9/16/25/345 squared. I just was awarded my vanity call sign from the FCC, and I downloaded the certificate today, hence my question. All right, I'll drive on with the question. On QRZ, they updated my name in the title, and someone currently has K7FPS, a page there. How does that work? Do I take over their page? Do they change my call sign? How does the QRZ thing work? I'm going to have an identity crisis here for a bit with the two different call signs.
Good question. I don't know. I've never heard anybody ask that before. I'm sure there's somebody out there. Perhaps their call sign was active. The call sign you were awarded was active not too long ago, but I don't know. Can anybody help me out? Fred got a vanity call sign today, and somebody's already given him an identity and filled out his bio.
K5HLH.
Right, looks like an answer coming from New Mexico.
K5HLH Mobile, it's possible that you've got a silent key that hasn't been marked off. They probably wouldn't issue a call sign that was current or expired. You can actually email or get a hold of QRZ for services online. If you already have a QRZ page on the old license, just send them a ticket number and a question with a copy of your new license, and I'm sure they'll straighten it out. K5HLH back to net.
Hey guys, so I got a question. I'm driving my grandpa's car, and I've been just hearing those talking. Kind of cool. So I'm just saying that I could only speak on it if I had a license. Please don't tell him.
Don't know what that was all about coming from the North Houston hub, but we didn't hear it, so I guess it's all good. All right, I guess that's your answer, Fred. I don't know. Never heard that before. Go ahead.
All right, well, I downloaded the PDF, and I'll take it up with QRZ. I looked at their FAQ, and it didn't have it, the answer there, but Lance's license expired back in 2023 in Utah, and he has a page, and they just put quotes inserted into my name, so like I said, I'm going to have an identity crisis here for a little bit. Thank you. KK70GC, back to net.
1 WEB comment.
Hey, well, I'll get to you in 1 second. Scott just mentioned here in the broadcast booth here, if you will, copying a term that Kevin used to use, that it does take QRZ a while to catch up. Perhaps that's some of the issue. I don't know. Webb, you have a lot to do with this, I know. N1WEB, good evening, and your comment, and if you'd like to give us the answer to our question, we'll save you from checking in later, but you can always check in again if you like. Do you collect amateur radio certificates? And good evening.
You, Dick. Yeah, I'll answer that question first off here. No, I guess I don't collect them. You know, I've got a few, and I tend to put them away. I don't seek them out, but I'm happy to get them, kind of like QSO cards. But you better put me down for a note of that. As far as a vanity call change, I think that's probably somewhat common. Not exactly answering his question, but you know, some of these vanity call signs, mine included back in 2023, had a life of their own before I picked it up. In my case, I have a license with Ham Radio Deluxe, which is logging software. I was unable to register that with my new call sign, but it did take a quick phone call to their support people, and they were able to sort that out pretty quickly. I think the audit trail
HLH with a follow-up answer.
Webb, you went off very abrupt there. Did something happen?
Hi, Dick. I'm on All-Star, and you know, I almost wonder if I have a short timeout, because this has been happening a number of times. I get cut off abruptly. I'm not sure what it is, but thank you for that feedback. I don't know where I got cut off, so I'll just turn it back over to the net. N1 WEB.
Check your radio. Check the timeout in your radio. That's probably what it is. You're on, I guess you're on All-Star. I guess it could be, but I would check your radio. Thanks, Webb. Let me go back to Harry in Grants, New Mexico, and K5HLH. Harry, I didn't get an answer from you. I probably didn't ask you. Do you collect amateur radio certificates?
K5HLH, Roger. I was putting them up on the wall in the shack one day, and I had too many, so I just started putting them in the filing cabinet. But on my QRZ page, I have a lot of them posted on there. If the license expired in 2023 under the new rules, gentlemen, you got to wait for the 2-year grace period before the FCC drops it. So that may be part of the problem as well. And keep that in mind. Your license expires, they give you 2 years to renew, and then they probably dropped it. But if you'll just get a hold of QRZ, I'm sure they'll straighten it out. I do check, like I say, I do save the certificates. We're almost home, and I checked in via the text, so if you want to drop me off that list, thank you very much for letting us get in. K5HLH, back to net, 73.
We'll try to remember to take you off the list. Thanks, Harry. We got you down for a yes. And thanks for your comments, Webb. And what's there to say, Fred from Reno? Good luck. Let us know how you make out. Very interesting. I've never heard of that before. Who else do I have? Stations with an amateur radio related question.
4 Foxtrot Hotel Echo. Quebec 4 Foxtrot Hotel Echo. 6 Bravo Romeo November. Tell me your 6 BRN.
Evening to Bruce, Santa Monica, California, W6BRN. And Pat in Harvest, Alabama, KQ4FHE. Good evening, Pat, and same goes for you. You answer our question and we'll take yours.
Roger, this is KQ4FHE. Good evening, everybody. My question is, I've got an ICOM IC7300. It's not transmitted. The power meter and SWR meter both are indicating no output power on the transmitter. I used an external power meter, SWR meter, and I'm getting the same result. I heard that there's a setting on the radio that disables the transmitter. Does anybody know if that's true or not?
All right, guys and gals, Pat's got a 7300. That's no TX output. Anybody have that problem other than blowing finals?
Five HLH.
Go ahead, Harry.
Almost home again. K5HLH. I've got a 7100 ICOM, and I've noticed if you have it in a digital mode, you may not get any power out on a digital mode. That's just my best guess. Back to net.
That's a good point. Pat, let me ask you, how are you, how are you trying to look at power? Are you on sideband and talking and modulating, or are you on FM so you got a carrier? How are you trying to detect power output?
Meter here is backing up. I couldn't hardly hear anything said.
My question to you is, how are you checking your output power? What are you using? Are you on sideband and modulating and talking into your microphone, or are you on FM so you get a carrier? How are you trying to find out you have no output power?
I'm doing what the manual said. The manual said to put it in the ready mode, RTTY mode, to do it, and that's what I tried.
Talking in the Zoom room here. I guess if it's on the digital side, it will not transmit, I guess. But I kind of missed what you said, Pat. Could you tell me one more time what you said? And my question to you is, it probably was my fault trying to get you an answer in the Zoom room. How are you testing for RF output? Are you using FM or sideband and modulating, or what do you got going there?
This repeater's messing up. I can't hardly hear you guys. But I put it in the ready mode, RTTY mode, to check it.
Well, I don't know. Put it in FM. Put it in FM and try it. I don't know. Anybody answer that? What happens if you put a 7300 in the radio mode? I don't know. No module. I don't know. I don't have an answer for you. Anybody help us out on that one?
Whiskey 2, Sierra Alpha Lima.
Hey, my buddy Sal. Go ahead with your answer.
I had the same issue after I loaned out my 7300. I put it in ready mode. I didn't get anything. I put it in FM mode, and you definitely have to modulate, and according to the bird meter, it worked. So with that, I suggest you try doing a hard reset first, and try and go into the FM mode and see if that doesn't help them. W2SL, back to net control.
The FM mode. Thanks, guys.
Sal, before you run away, do you collect certificates? That's our question tonight. No, I don't. I'm negatory. I don't collect any certificates. Well, that question was for Sal. Sal, do you collect any certificates? And Pat, I'll get back to you in just a minute. Sal, do you collect certificates?
Oh, if they come my way, especially the good old silver certificates with the greenbacks on them. But any certificates that come my way, I'll take them. Sometimes I post them, sometimes I just file them away. With that, I'll take it back to you, W2SAL, back to net control. Well, there's a couple of suggestions for you, Pat. I guess we could say good luck and try it in FM and see what happens. Comment? Comment, go ahead.
November 8 Officer Dave in Huntsville, Alabama. And I'll answer your question first. I do not collect certificates. One of my SWR meters specifically said in the instructions to not try to test in a digital mode. Of course, for VHF, UHF, but I would assume that radio teletype and some of the other HF digital modes is the same problem where the transmitter is not keying all the time, like would be the case for DMR. So it could be that that's the reason he's not getting a reading on the on his output power. And why back to that.
I need to get your call. I see you're coming in on DMR, and you're coming in on the DMR bridge, and your audio sounds fine. So those other two stations up earlier that had checked in that were on the DMR bridge with low audio, obviously you do have low audio because this gentleman is just right. So with N8, give us your call sign twice if you would, please, so we can get you logged in here and we have you know for certificate.
November 8, Oscar Alpha Yankee, and 80AY.
That makes it all better, Dave, from Huntsville, Alabama. Thank you. N8OAY. We got you. What else do we have? Stations with an amateur radio related question. Call signs twice. This is Dick, WB2JPQ.
6, Bravo Romeo November, W6, BRN, Bruce.
Oh, my apologies, Bruce. Sleeping at the helm here. I already acknowledged you, had you in queue. W6BRN, good evening.
You're the old. Oh, wait, I'm the old guy here. I'm the old guy. First of all, for your question, no, I don't collect certificates. They're not as important to me as they could be. But I do have a question. I'm running right now digital on my M1KE, the mic, and I've been told by several hams that my audio is very low. My audio is low. I tried moving it up a notch. Can I get a signal report? Is my audio good, clear, crisp, or do I have to turn it up more?
Well, for digital audio, I think it's in the ballpark. I don't have that our program up. I don't know. You might try one click up, but you sound pretty good to me. You have to be careful on digital. You get too high, and the relation from digital to analog, and then you sound distorted. So Dave, if you need to come up, it's up very, very little. Bruce, rather, if you need to come up, it's very little. You might try bringing it up one and then check it in later with when we in general check-ins, and we could look at it, or wait till after the net, or that goes for anybody. Maybe I should mention it. We've recently added the last couple of months on the EastCoastReflector.com webpage, along with our Listen Live audio, we have a view meter, so you can actually go and look at your audio and see what it looks like, and see if you're too high, too low. So I would suggest that after the net, Bruce, but constructively it may be just a tad, but not too much to come up. So I wouldn't call it low.
The report I did, while we were talking, I did make the change, and hopefully this is even better. Whiskey 6, Bravo, Romeo, November, back to the net. Is my audio any better?
It might have come up a little bit. There was nothing wrong with your audio. Nothing wrong with your audio, Bruce. I think it might have come up just a tad, but you sound good. Again, you can't get too high on digital or you start getting distorted on the analog side.
With Bravo, Romeo, November, back to the group. Thank you. 73.
All right, Bruce, glad we could help you. Again, to everybody, EastCoastReflector.com. Listen live, you can look at your audio along with everybody else's, but and I was not looking at it, so when Bruce was talking, I didn't get a chance. I got so many other screens up here, I didn't have room for any more. Stations with amateur radio related questions. We need a call sign and we'll take your question.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Victor Lima Lima.
KG5VLL, and there's a station on 444.8 in Orlando. You're just all noise. You're never going to make it. We'll go to KG5VLL. Good evening.
Good evening. Fairly simple question. I have a HF that's I like to move from vehicle to vehicle, hence a mag mount antenna on the, and I'm looking for a mobile HF antenna, looking for recommendations out there.
Yeah. Why don't you answer my question before I forget? Do you collect certificates? We need to know, are you looking for a permanent mount? You mentioned mag mount. Are you looking for some sort of a bumper mount, or is it a semi-permanent mount for HF? What are you looking for?
It's not going to be semi-permanent. To answer your question, no, I don't. I just started POTA last 2 weekends ago. Is my first POTA activation, and so it's a little too early in the game for me to be doing that, but eventually I suppose that I will. To answer your other questions about the rest specifically, no, I'm looking at a mag mount that will be transferred from vehicle to vehicle, and I'm looking for an antenna along those lines.
With a big mag mount with a capital B, right? Anybody have any suggestions? A mag mount HF antenna.
KC6 UFM.
Charles, I knew we'd get you in here one way or the other. Good evening.
Good evening, Dick, and everyone on the Tech Net tonight. Kirkland, you didn't mention what band or bands that you're interested in.
The problem you're going to have here is, as Dick implied, a big mag mount with a capital B, capital I, and capital G. You're going to need at least 3 great big magnets up there to hold that thing in place as you're driving, because HF antennas are big. If you're looking for a single band, there are ways around it. You can use things like the ham sticks, or there's several other brand names, shark sticks and so forth, for single band operation. And you also did not mention what radio you have, what HF radio you have. Most of the newer Yaesu radios, if you have one of those, I would strongly recommend looking at the ATAS, that's ATAS 120 antenna, which is basically a screwdriver antenna that plugs into most of the newer Yaesu radios, and it automatically adjusts itself to give you 40 meters all the way up actually through 440 coverage. So, that would be one good option there. But again, if you're looking for a mag mount, you're going to need a great big one. And moving those big, I shouldn't say moving, I should say removing those great big mag mounts from one car and putting them on another, that is a project, because they are so powerful and so strong that hard to get them off of one vehicle. And be very careful when you're putting it on and taking it off that you do not get your hand in between those magnets in the car. It will take off a finger. So, again, though, if you're looking for a single band, look into the ham sticks or the shark sticks or something like that. They're relatively small, relatively inexpensive, and they work quite well. Back over to you, Dick, KC6, USM.
Charles, and I guess as I think about it, the ham sticks would work nice for single band. I don't know if that was any help to you, but like Charles said, that's a tough question. It might almost be easier to move the trunk lid from car to car. Those big those ones with those 3 big magnets. Charles is right. Boy, oh boy, those are some strong magnets. But anyway, good luck to you.
Well, I do appreciate that, and I appreciate the feedback. The ATOS sounds pretty good. I was actually looking at that. I have not had a lot of luck tuning the ham sticks. I've used several, and to respond to your other comment, I'm running an FT891, and I do have a triple mag mount up there, and yes, it is a booger bear to get off, but that's kind of what I'm looking at right now.
Thank you for the booger bear. That's a new one, but they both start with B's and they're both cap holes. So there we go. Big booger bear mag mount. Thank you. Thanks for being there, having fun with us tonight. Thank you, Charles. Who else do I have? Stations with an amateur radio related question.
You Sierra Alpha Lima with another follow-up answer.
Go ahead, Sal.
That gentleman with the 891, what I've been using is a 5-inch mag mount with a resonator stick tuned to the frequency I plan on using, whether it be voice, digital, or whatnot. I don't have an issue with that. I also have a quad mount that goes on the front of the hood, and that one there, I still do not travel with the antennas up because of the height of them. So I suggest it'll be easier for him to use a mag mount 5-inch if he's staying stationary at one of the parks. But if he's traveling, it's a whole different ballgame. With that, I'll send it back to you, Dick, W2SAL.
Thank you for your comments, Sal. All right, let's go along. Anyone else have an amateur radio related question? at 55 past the hour.
Door open, the 3 tank will go, we're portable.
Well, our friend Tim from Windsor. Tim, I didn't know you were up this late. Nice to hear you, VE3TGN. Good evening to you, Tim. And if you'd like to answer our question tonight, do you collect amateur radio certificates? And it's 1 for 1 here. Then go ahead and ask your question. Hey, we got a man down button from you, Tim. You're hitting the wrong button, buddy. Get the push to talk.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say hello to everybody, and definitely, yeah, I got certificates on the wall for checking in, and definitely, even from Gordon West, Dayton, Ohio, and my own certificate there for efficiency and CW2 and Hall Bends there. We're just using the portable in my using for chair. I did through okay. Over.
Tim, you're getting through just fine. Thank you for the yes on that question. Do you have a question for us tonight?
Oh, not really there. Just listening now, just turned it on. There I had extra fast rate today. Went down to the garage with my old car, and guess what? The door came down and smashed my windshield in my car. And the hood got a good scrape on it, and I got to talk to the landlady tomorrow. He had it, when you turn it to the right, it was wide open. And they reversed it, but my windshield got totally smashed.
Sorry to hear that, Tim. Sounds like you're not having a very good night. Thank you for stopping by. We're looking for stations with amateur radio-related questions. Anybody left that has an amateur radio-related question, call signs twice, please. E3TCS. Another morning brewer, the E3TCS. Go ahead, Tim. 2 Tims from Windsor right in a row. I know TGN, and when I heard the man down signal, I thought maybe I'd have to scramble over to the apartment building he lives in, but I don't know what apartment he's in. Glad to hear he's okay. Too bad. He's got a nice classic car, so. Anyhow, my rain gutter antenna is pretty noisy. I'm just wondering if there's some way I can significantly reduce the noise. If anybody has a productive suggestion. Back to that. Thanks, Dick.
KC6UFM.
Well, go ahead, Charles. And good evening, Tim. And Tim, when you come back, you didn't answer our question, but go ahead, Charles.
Yeah, thanks again, Dick. Yeah, Tim, the biggest problem I've found with rain gutter antennas and getting noisy is that you are, I'm going to use the term losing contact
between the sections of the gutter and maybe downspouts, things like that. It's not a case of totally losing contact. It's a case of the resistance across the joint getting high, and that's from corrosion, that sort of thing. You end up getting a diode effect, just like a semiconductor diode, or even the old selenium, if you want to go that far. The corrosion to rectify some of the signal, and you start getting noise. The way to get around that is to make sure that all the sections are bonded together very, very well using either heavy gauge wire or preferably a braid type material, cleaning off all the paint and all the corrosion, making that connection across that area, and I think you'll find that will eliminate a whole lot of your noise. Back over to you, Dick, KC6UFM.
Well, thank you, Charles. Tim, was that any help to you, Tim? And you want to answer our question? Do you collect amateur radio certificates?
Like, thanks, gentlemen, for his suggestion. I did see something on YouTube similar to that, using star washers to make little jumper sets. So I guess I have to go to the hardware store and get some goodies. Yeah, I collect some certificates. I'm waiting to apply for DXTC. I qualify for digital, but I'm about 15 or 16 short on phone. So as soon as I get that, I'll order both certificates, and then I'll have to regroup and plan for what I want to try to go for next. Anyhow, thanks, Dick. Take care. Maybe talk to you in the morning. DE3 TCS. Back to that.
We got you down for a yes, Tim. Thanks for your question. Well, good Lord willing, you will see me for the open tomorrow morning at 7. Who else do we have? Stations with an amateur radio related question. Well, that'll do it for me then tonight. Don't forget to text in, everybody, 716-317-9050. I see we got a bunch of them already, but 716-317-9050. Makes it a lot easier. Just text your call sign only, and we'll get you on the log. With that, I'm going to send it to Scott, W2BLT, and he's going to take 10 text check-ins to get us started here tonight. Thanks, everybody. Like I said, we'll see you tomorrow at 7. Go ahead, Scott. This is Dick, WB2JPQ. Have a good night, everybody.
Alrighty, thank you, Dick, and good evening, everyone. This is Scott, W2BLT, and I'm going to take the first batch of text check-ins here, and then I'll turn it over to my buddy Roger, the pride of Central Florida there, the DX master himself. Let me acknowledge some text check-ins here, and then we'll run the list. We had KD2JPP, Bob in Gallatin, Tennessee, WA2 UUS, Joel in Buffalo, New York, KC6 UFM, Charles in Guatai, KA8 BYU, Roy in Blaisdell, KM5GH, Mike in Albuquerque, KE4 NTG, Walter in Hollywood, K6 AAN, Mike out in Valley Springs, KC2 GRN, Joel in East Yaphank, New York, AC4BR, Brian in Monticello, and KQ4GLY, Chris in Parrish, Florida. Let's go to the top of this list, and the question of the evening is, do you collect amateur radio certificates? Let's go to KD2JPP, Bob in Gallatin. Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Scott, and everybody else on the net. Yes, I do collect the contest special event certificates. Didn't ask, but as well as QSL cars, old and new, especially from World War II. Back to net control. Everybody have a good week.
Alrighty, thank you, Bob. Appreciate you joining us, and you have a good week. WA2 UUS, Joel, right here in Buffalo. Good evening.
On the net tonight. I collect QSL cards and have since I was WV2 QNC decades ago, and I still look forward to putting them on my door and around. But I don't really with certificates. Thank you, Scott and Vicki, and I wish everyone a nice week ahead. Be well and be safe.
Thank you, Joel, for stopping by, and you have yourself a great evening. Let's go out to Guatai, California, to Charles, KC6 UFM. Good evening, Charles.
Well, good evening, Scott. This is Charles, KC6 UFM from beautiful downtown Guatai, California, the former home of Dennis the Catman. And yes, you can Google Dennis the Catman. He's real, or was real. Rest in peace. But anyway, thanks to Vicki for logging there, and to you and Roger and Dick for herding cats tonight. And I'm just kind of sitting here now that Dick is free, and Roger's going to be taking up the next round here, and trying to reach him on FT8, but not having much luck at it. Scott, I don't know. But as far as the question is concerned, I'm going to have to go with a no, because I do have certificates that from QRZ, because it's all automatic and it's all free. So, I don't have to do anything to get those. Just talk on the radio. I don't have to jump through any of the hoops or anything like that, and I have never been a contester. So yes, I do have certificates, but no, I don't actively go out and chase them. I think I could probably count on my fingers and toes how many QSL cards I've gotten over the last 35 plus years. So in any event, that's where I am with that, and just want to kind of throw out a little teaser here. I've heard a lot of talk on the Reflector recently about working the ISS and the various satellites and things of that nature, and in the upcoming Reflector magazine, there will be an antenna farm article on how to build a dual band cross Yagi to do just exactly what we're talking about. Work the ISS, work a whole bunch of the satellites, and you can do it for about $30 or less, depending upon what you got in your junk drawer. So, and it'll outperform a $150 antenna. So, in any event, Scott, I'm going to pass it back over to you. Everybody have a great week. 7-3, stay safe. KC6, UFM, back to net control.
All right, thank you, Charles. I'll be looking forward to the article. You have yourself a great night. KA8BYU, Roy in Blaisdell, New York. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. KA8BYU. Yeah, I kind of do. I like get a lot of the special event certificates and that, especially. Been doing that for quite a few years. Back to you.
Got you in the yes column tonight. Thanks for stopping by. This is W2BLT. Let's go to KM5GH. Mike, out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Good evening, Mike.
KM5GH. Good evening, everybody. From Albuquerque. Don't make a left turn right now. We're getting some ugly rain that we desperately need. But to answer your question, I have 5 or 6 certificates, but I don't go chasing it. Once in a while, I'll find a specialty one that I think is really cool, but and I'll work hard to get it. But for the most part, nope. I just like to drag chew and talk and visit with folks and do e-coms when necessary. KM5GH Albuquerque 73's off.
All right, thanks, Mike. Very interesting. You have yourself a great evening. Next up, we have Walter down in Hollywood, Florida, KE4NTG, and I don't know, Walter, I heard from somebody, a little mouse, that the only certificates you've got are the bill for breakfast. Good evening. KE4NTG, are you still with me, Walter? Come back to Walter in a minute here. K6AAN, Mike in Valley Springs, California. Good evening. Six AAN, are you there, Mike? Nothing heard. Let's go to KC2, GRN, Joel, down in East Yaphank, New York. Good evening, Joel, and do you collect amateur radio certificates?
Good evening, Scott. KC2, GRN. Yeah, I do collect some, not a whole lot, but a few of the ARRL ones, some of the CQ Worldwide stuff, and a few POTAs. But I don't go crazy with them. But, it's just fun, and, it covers up a couple of holes in the wall that I got here. Anyway, everybody have a great evening. KC2 GRN back to that.
Alrighty, Joel. Thanks for joining us this evening. We appreciate it. AC4BR, Brian of Monticello, Kentucky. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott. Everybody on the net. Answer your question, no. I'm still pretty new at this, so I haven't got into this yet. Sounds like someone's trying to break in there. Anyway, anywho, as long as they don't require any more tests, then I plan on collecting them someday, perhaps. Anyway, y'all have a good evening, AC4BR.
Alrighty, thank you, Brian. Have a great evening. Last one on this list, KQ4GLY, Chris down in Parrish, Florida. Good evening.
Good evening, Scott and everyone on the net. No, I do not collect certificates. Back to you, KQ4GLY.
All right, thanks for joining us, Chris. I appreciate it. All right, that's going to do it for the first round of text check-ins. I'm going to turn it over to my buddy Roger, KO4QMM down in Umatilla, Florida, and he'll take some radio check-ins here. This is W2ELT.
Well, thank you, Mr. Scott. That seemed like a pretty active first 10 there. Hopefully the PTT hitters will do the same for me. This is KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida. I'll be the net controller for the next 10 call-ins. And anybody that make it in can either text 716-317-9050 or I call for the next check-ins. Everybody wins, so come with your call sign, anybody, anywhere.
KO4FRR, KO4FRR.
KC1 QPL, KC1 QPL. This is 9Y4DX. 9 Yankee 4, Delta X-ray, Bertrand.
VK3AWA, VK3AWA. All right, that's a pretty short list there. We got 4 of them. We got BK3AWA Daryl, Australia, 9Y4DX Bertrand, Trinidad and Tobago, KC1QPL John, South Paul, Minnesota, KO4FRR Joe, Sorrento, Florida. Anybody else like to get in on this list? Come with your call sign.
KJ5HQU mobile, no traffic. This is KJ5HQU mobile.
KI4NG, 73. JTK2CJD, in and out.
Alrighty then, from the bottom up, we'll take K2CJD in and out. CJ Hamburg, New York, have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. And we got KJ5AJQ Mobile, John, Lancaster, PA. And that's it. Let's go to the top of the list. KO4FRR, Joe, Sorrento, Florida. Good evening, Joe. Do you collect amateur certificates?
Well, good evening, Roger. This is Joe, KO4FRR. To say no to that, I tried to do that on the 13 colonies. I had everything almost written down and didn't send it in, and well, that's that. And I'm like, I guess this is not for me. So the answer would be no, and I'm off on Friday. Have a good one.
Understood, Joe. Yeah, I'm like Charles. It's the ones they give me on QRZ is cool, but I don't, go out of my way to get them. Thanks for joining us, Joe. You sound good there tonight. Have a great evening. Let's move on to John, John, St. Paul, Minnesota, KC1QPL. Good evening, John. Haven't heard from you in a while.
Well, good evening, Roger. And likewise, it's good to be heard from, and it's good to hear you and my buddy Scott in before you. KC1QPL. In my younger days, under another call sign, back in the late 80s and early 90s, I was chasing certificates. Picked up a few of them, but don't do that much anymore. It's like been there, done that, and now let's just have a nice conversation and make the world a smaller place. Anyway, back to you, sir. You're doing a fine job. KC1QPL, 7-3s.
Thank you, John. You have a good evening. Good hearing from you. Let's move on to my buddy Bertrand, Trinidad and Tobago. I think you're back home there. NY4DX. It's over to you, Bertrand.
Well, a pleasant evening to you, Net Control. Excuse me there. That is Roger, KO4QMM. This is 9Y4DX, Bertrand, and yes, I'm in Trinidad and Tobago. I'm back home after a very wonderful vacation to the United States as well as to Canada. And it's, home stays a bit warm these days. So, however, we have had some rain yesterday and today with a little flooding, but that's not too bad. It wasn't too bad. So I wish everyone a pleasant evening and a pleasant week ahead. I hope everyone has catch you again soon. Back to you, Net Control, Roger, KO4QMM. This is 9Y4. Yes.
Thank you for joining us, Bertrand, and yeah, it was fun listening to you moving around there and enjoying yourself. Have a great evening, and we'll talk to you next week. Let's move on to Daryl, Paradise Beach, Australia, VK3AWA. How about it, Daryl? Do you collect amateur radio certificates?
Good evening, Roger, and those on the net. Yes, I do collect them. I don't chase them as such, Roger, so they're mainly the ones I collect from activating Poda Parks. So back to you.
Yeah, QSL. I was wondering if I was going to hear about the Poda Parks, man. They do a lot of certificates, and they're well earned. So you have a good evening. Thanks for joining us, Daryl. We'll look down the line. And mobile, let's move to KJ5AQU from Lancaster, PA. Good evening, John.
Correction, it's Kilo Juliet 5 Hotel Quebec uniform.
QSL, we got you on there. Is that Orange, Texas, KJ5HQU. Do you collect amateur radio certificates?
No, sir, I do not.
QSL, my friend, have a good evening there, and keep your eyes on the road and be safe. Let's move on to the last one on my list, CJ. Oh, he was in and out, so that's it. I guess we're moving to the next group of text. This is KO4QMM, sending it over to my buddy Scott. Take it, Scott.
Alrighty, thanks, Roger. This is W2BLT. Let me acknowledge who we have here on the text, and we'll run them. We had KD3ATQ, Jim, K2CMT, Mike, DE3TCS, Tim, W2AJR, Indy, K1TAQ, David, and KI5PMI, Bill. Let's go to the KD3ATQ, Jim in Easton, Pennsylvania. The question of the evening for everyone is, do you collect amateur radio certificates?
Good evening, Scott, Vicky, and the rest of the net. No, I do not. Well, not yet. Don't know if I'll ever start, but not yet. Back to Net Control, KD3ATQ.
You never know. You might find some that you like. Have a great evening, and thanks for joining us. Let's go to Mike, one of our team members here on Reflector, K2CMT. Good evening, Mike. K2CMT, Mike, are you with us? I thought it was past his bedtime. Next up, VE3TCS, Tim, Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Good evening, Tim. VE3TCS. Are you with me, Tim? Probably not, because he answered the question before. So, that's all right. Let's go to W2AJR, Andy in Chickawaga, New York. Good evening, Andy.
Good evening, Scott, everybody on the net. No, I don't chase certificates. I love a good special event, but I'm not fussed about not getting a certificate, so no, I don't bother. 7-3, everybody. Have a great week. Thank you, Scott.
All right, thanks, Andy. You have yourself a great evening. I think we had K1 at TAQ, David up at Anchorage, Alaska. Good evening.
Hey there, good evening. Coming to you from Echolink. Collecting certificates would be a great goal of mine. I'm still new to this. I haven't even made enough HF contacts for any certificates. So, yeah, it's definitely a goal someday, but we'll see. Back to net, thank you.
Good evening, Scott, everybody on the net. No, I do not collect certificates. Hope everybody has a good evening. KI5PMI. Back to net. Alrighty, thanks, Bill. No, it is. And that'll do it for that round of text check-ins. We'll leave the text line open for a while here, see if we get some more in. Right now, we'll turn it back over to my buddy Roger, K04QMM, to take some more radio check-ins. This is W2BLT.
Thank you, Mr. Scott. This is KO4QMM. Anybody, anywhere, come with your call sign twice and slow.
F0 SYV, KF0 SYV.
We don't get some more, I'm going to have to start calling for districts to have a little flashback. Anybody, anywhere, come with your call signs.
This is NQ70, November, Quebec 7 Zulu.
KU2EHI, Kilo Echo 2, Echo Hotel India, going to be in and out.
Kilo 6, Golf Bravo Zulu, K6 GBZ, in and out. Whiskey Alpha 5 Tango Bravo Bravo, WA5 TBB.
Kilo Charlie 3, Yankee Victor Delta. Checking in and out.
I think there was a KF6 in there. Would you come back?
Kilo Foxtrot 8, Echo Bravo Victor. Kilo Foxtrot 8, Echo Bravo Victor.
That was it. Anybody else like to get in on this list? Answer the question of the evening. Join us. Come with your call sign.
Kilo Bravo 3, Victor Papa Kilo, KB3 VPK.
All right, got another little list here. I'll take it. KB3 VPK Mary Easton PA, KC3 YVD William Valencia PA, KF8 EBV Michael Farmington Hills Michigan, WA5TBB Reed Lubbock Texas, K6GBZ In and Out Tom Cameron Park California, KE2EHI In and Out Joseph Westfield New York, NQ7Z Charles Tucson Arizona, and KF0SYV Galen Woodbine Iowa. Good evening, Galen, and do you collect amateur radio certificates?
Roger, to everyone on the net. I haven't had them yet. I just, I haven't been licensed that long, but it sounded like be something interesting I might enjoy doing. Something to think about anyway. So this is KF0SYV, back to the net.
QSL Galen, yeah, it's something to see. They're enjoyable to get. Thanks for joining us this evening. Let's move on to Charles, Tucson, Arizona, NQ7Z. Good evening, Charles.
Hey, good evening, one and all on the net. This is NQ7Z Tucson Mobile, and just checked in. Sun just went down here. Beautiful orange sunset here in Tucson, and I don't know much about the paper you guys are talking about there. I've only been a ham for about 40 years, so something missing there in my education. But thanks a bunch for letting me check in. I'll catch up with you guys again. I'm mobile, and I'm going to check out now. NQ7Z, flipping the switch.
Yeah, you got to give it a few more years there. Maybe you'll catch on to it. Chuckle, chuckle. Thanks for joining us, Tom. You have a wonderful evening. That wasn't Tom. That was Reed, Lubbock, Texas. Let's move on to, that was Tucson, Arizona. I got you, Charles. Yeah, I bet you're waiting for some winter time there. Should start cooling off. All right, I'm caught up to myself now. Let's move on to Reed, Lubbock, Texas, WA5TBB. Good evening, Reed, and do you collect amateur radio certificates?
Good evening to everyone on the net. I don't very often, although I did just recently collect one for contacting a bunch of the military stations, amateur radio military crossband deal. That was an interesting challenge. So sometimes maybe, I guess, would that be one of your check marks? The WA5TBB.
QSL works for me, Reed. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us. This is Roger, KO4QMM in Central Florida with the Tuesday Night Tech Net. And we're going to move on to Michael, Farmington Hills, Michigan, KF8EBV. Good evening, Michael. And do you collect amateur radio certificates?
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I'm a new ham, got my license in May, and I did the 13 colonies, got the certificate, and then realized I'm way too competitive, and this hobby's supposed to be fun and not work. So I'm probably not going to do another one. Back to net control, KF8EBV.
QSL, thank you for joining us this evening, Michael. Let's move on to William, Valencia, PA, KC3YVD. Good evening, William.
Good evening to everyone on the net. This is KC3YVD here in Pennsylvania. No, I do not collect those cards, but I do enjoy special events. So I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. And this is KC3YVD, and send it back to net control.
Thanks for joining us, William. And yeah, I do like those QSL cards you get once in a while. They have the email ones that are pretty cool sometimes. So I do like those. And thanks for joining us. Last on my list is Mary, Easton, PA, KB3VPK. Good evening, Mary.
Good evening, everyone. 67 degrees here, Easton. I generally do not participate in contests. I do listen. That's about the closest I get. And then just try to tune my radio. I got an old analog 10 tech, so during contest time is a good time to compare my VFO on the digital readout to my analog 10 tech and make adjustments to make sure my frequencies are matching. That's about what I do for a contest. Back to you, Roger. Roger that. 73, everyone.
7-3 to you too, Mary. Thanks for joining us this evening. I'm going to hand it back to my buddy Scott. We'll probably go through one more round of call-ins, so stand by, and we're going to send it to Scott now for the text check-ins. Back to you, Scott. W2BLT KO4QMM.
Alrighty, thank you, Roger. This is W2BLT, and just a note to KB3VPK. Mary, if you would, when you check in, if you could just turn that other radio down in the background there, we get an echo, and it's doing almost as good a job as you are. Have a good evening, Mary. Alrighty, we'll take another round of radio check-ins here, seeing how we don't have any text check-ins. And because we don't have any text check-ins, let's close the text line. No sense leaving it open if nobody's going to text it. So if you'd like to join us tonight on TechNet check-in, please come with your call sign now, twice.
CJM, W2, CJM.
Kilo Echo 8, Uniform Juliet Echo. Kilo Echo 8, Uniform Juliet Echo. In and out this evening.
November 5, America, Quebec, Mexico, N5, AQM. I'll be in and out tonight. Thanks, guys. Great net.
Delta Foxtrot.
Alrighty, let's hold it up there for just a moment. That last station coming out of Leesburg there with the suffix of Delta Foxtrot. Could you come back with that call sign again, please?
Kilo KF4RDF, Kilo Foxtrot, Romeo Delta Foxtrot.
Alrighty, we got you, Lyman, and we also had 5AQM, Mike in Chandler, Arizona was in and out. KE8UJE, Paul up in Newport, Michigan was in and out tonight. And we had W2CJM, Charles. Anybody else looking to join us tonight, please come with your call sign twice.
Victor Alpha 3 Yankee Bravo Sierra. Victor Alpha 3 Yankee Bravo Sierra. KL5VI, Kilo Lima 5 Victor India.
Alrighty, recognizing KL5VI, David.
This is K2CMP, back to net control.
Alrighty, Mike. I'm sorry, I thought you fell asleep on me before. Get yourself a good night, and thanks for stopping by. Let's go on to W2CJM, Charles in Selden, New York. Good evening, Charles.
Scott and everybody on the crew, the answer is collect. Thanks for doing that. Have a great night.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us, Charles. Have a great evening. Let me remind everybody of the question of the day. Do you collect amateur radio certificates? Let's go on to Tavares, Florida, to KF4RDF. Lyman, good evening.
Good evening to you. God, thank you very much.
All right, Lyman, I didn't get your answer. Could you give that to me again, please? Have a good evening, and thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Let's go to VA3 YBS Bill up in Dunnville, Ontario, Canada. Good evening, Bill.
Good evening, Scott, and everybody else on the net tonight. No, I haven't collected any amateur radio certificates. I really haven't been licensed all that long, about 3 months now, but it's not something I'm not going to do, but I just haven't done it yet. Anyway, thanks for running the net, Scott, and this is the A3YBS. Back to you.
Alrighty, thanks, Bill. Enjoy the rest of the evening. KL5VI, David up in Soldotna, Alaska. Good evening, David.
Oh, Scott, you pronounced that right. That happens occasionally. I do not collect cards. And appreciate you, Scott, and East Coast Reflector, KL5VI.
Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. And last on this list, NA2F, Antonio in Wilmington, North Carolina. Good evening.
NA2F returning. I collect them, but I'm not a hunter of them. Just from being active in parks on the air, I've acquired quite a few. Back to net control.
Alrighty, thanks for joining us, Antonio. Appreciate it. Alrighty, folks, we'll give one more round here. We'll give one last call for anybody looking to join us tonight here on the net. Please come with your call sign twice.
Romeo 4, Echo X-ray Echo, in and out.
Well, I heard one call and then a bunch of crickets. Let me make sure we got this one right. KR4 EXE. Was that Todd in Atlantic Beach, Florida? Well, I guess it was. He was in and out at any rate. Thanks for joining us, and have a good night. Well, with nothing else heard, that's going to do it for us for tonight, folks. Kind of a quick night here tonight. I don't know where everybody is, but they're not here at the moment. I'd like to thank everybody that checked in, had questions, answered questions, or just stopped by to say hello. On behalf of Dick, WB2JPQ, Roger, KO4QMM, and Vicky, as always, logging tonight, KE8VKY. This is W2BLT, wishing everybody a great evening. 7-3.